everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mike Nierychlo Online. So today's show, well, first I'll introduce my good buddy. This is Brendan Irvin. I've known him since we were like, what, 13, 14,
yeah,
13, something 14. Like that, in high school, hanging out. And Brendan happened to be the first fan of Mike Nierychlo Online, dedicated buddy.
Yes.
First and only fan at the time. Anyway, I thought he'd have him on the show today. Brendan's not so much a wine guy, and I mean, I'm a little bit, I can't say tired of wine, because I'll never get tired of wine, but I had my fair share of wine on the road trip, and like you can see, we're back in the garage from the road trip, so I thought we'd do something a bit different today. Brendan's a huge fan of Asian beer.
Yes.
Why do you like Asian beer so much?
I just like beer that no one really drinks out here so much.
Something different.
Yeah, something different.
To try something new.
Yeah.
And Brendan makes probably the most rockin' Caesar I've ever had. And Caesar's kind of known as one of Canada's mixing drinks, or whatever you want to call it. So today's show we're going to do a vodka tasting. Taste through a couple little bit unusual vodkas, some European vodkas, and see what we think of them. We're going to choose one, and Brendan's going to whip us up a Caesar. You'll see his secret recipe, and I'll probably leave it down below for you after. I mean, he doesn't really know when he makes it. You don't really have measurements, do you?
I just kind of go, I want a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and...
Awesome. So we'll try to figure it out for you and leave the recipe below afterwards. He's got a few little tricks that he likes for doing the Caesars. Anyway, so we'll get right into this. We'll taste some vodka. So the first one we're doing is a vodka from Finland. And I was recommended, this one's got a bit of a spice to it or something like that would go well in Caesars. So it's Finlandia from Finland. Have a look at the bottle there. Let's see what they have to offer. Here you go. So like my show says, I mean, I love wine, but I love I love spirits, things that are made passionately, different products, things that you can just explore and learn so many interesting things of. And vodka is one of those things that really expresses place as well. Even though it's so distilled and kind of tightly wound, it expresses some really interesting things. So what do you smell?
Nail polish.
You smell nail polish? Actually, it's got a pretty strong nose.
It does.
I do get a little bit of like, well, it's got a little bit of like a starchy smell coming through, but there is a bit of spice. Like, I almost want to say salt and vinegar. Like, a little, reminds me of salt and vinegar chips ever so slightly. Or like I put salt and vinegar on some fries or something. Actually, it's pretty smooth. It's got some good heat to it.
Yeah, when it's in the mouth, it's got
good heat. I mean, the alcohol content is up there, that's for sure. It's got a good bite to it. 40%.
40%, yeah.
It's got a good bite to it, but
it's smooth. It doesn't burn.
Yeah, it doesn't burn at all. It goes down nicely. It's smooth. And it does have a little bit of that. I mean, it reminds me of salt and vinegar. It kind of reminds me of on the palate, which I think could do well in a Caesar. Alright, the next one we're trying. Brendan, I don't think is going to spit or dump any of this vodka. He wants to have a good time. Awesome. So the next one, we've got a Polish vodka. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Polish. Can't you tell? I don't really speak much of it. Nierychlo, you're saying Mike Nierychlo Online. Natively it's pronounced Nierychlo. That's how you say Nierychlo. I don't speak much Polish. I'm sorry, any Polish people watching. My parents didn't do a very good job of teaching me. I'd like to learn it one day. Anyway, this one, Iborva. How's that for pronunciation? Iborva vodka. And in Poland they call it vodka. It's not vodka. There's no W or no V in it. So this, Brendan says, is one of his favorites for making Caesars with. And you see this one on the shelf a lot, but I don't think a lot of people pick it up. It's not your absolute vodka, your Grey Goose, your Smirnoff, what have you. I'll try this one out. Here's the thing with vodka. There's not a lot of color. And when you make vodka, it's done in a continuous still. When they continuous still, say other spirits like scotch or whiskey, it's done on like a single still. It's a big pot still, leaves a lot of the initial elements to it when it's distilled. On a continuous still like vodka, that's why it comes out so clear. It's basically, you're just getting like 97% of it is just the alcohol that whatever the grain or the potato has produced. So that's what you're getting. So you get just minute amounts of the flavor profile of whatever it's coming from. This one's not as aromatic. Like it doesn't.
No.
You don't get as much aroma. Less nail polish. I find that, I mean, the other one had, I think, more flavor.
Yeah.
This one I get a lot more up front. It's got some of that kind of vinegary aspect or whatever, a little bit up front. You taste a bit of the alcohol in the back end, but it doesn't blow me away with flavor. It's kind of, it's fairly smooth. Oh, and second sip. This one comes, well, it's decent, but it's fairly smooth. It goes down fairly nicely. It's got a little bit more of a burn to it, I think, though.
Yeah.
Definitely a bit more of a burn. So probably not as well made. Oh, and the Finlandia is made with pure glacier spring water, unfiltered, this, that, and the other thing. We got all their little snippets to it. The Iborva, I wrote a couple things down here. It's a rye vodka made with rye, and the Finlandia is made with barley. That one's all right. I personally prefer the Finlandia better. I don't know what you think.
Well, I've never actually had this one by itself.
Oh, yeah.
I've always had it in a Caesar, so...
I mean, it's still nice, but I think the Finlandia has more flavor to it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, and the third one we've got, this one really caught both of our eyes. Now, I wrote the pronunciation one down for this one because I'm not sure how to say it. Zubrówka. Zubrówka. That's my Polish coming through. It's bison grass vodka. You can even see the color. I don't know if you can see in the video, it actually looks like it. There's a piece of bison grass in there from the plains where the bison roam. And they've allowed this piece of bison grass in there to just kind of infuse its flavors in the vodka, and it gives it that really interesting greenish hint. I saw it, I'm like, I gotta try that. That looks really interesting. So I'm really curious about this one. See what it has to offer in flavor for us. It's got that neat kind of greenish hue to it. Also a Polish vodka, again, like I said. I wasn't able to figure out what this one's made from. Polish, I mean, usually potatoes, but this could very well be a wheat vodka as well, or grain vodka.
Definitely much...
It's got, the nose really comes through on this one. Like, it's very aromatic.
Yeah.
It's a clean nose too, like the other ones where it's like nail polish and they kind of rip your face off.
Oh, this one's nice.
This has got I could smell this for a long time actually. It reminds me of like a very soft mint or something like that. Oh, is there anything you get? Ooh. Yeah.
It's definitely different.
You like that, or? Yeah, it's kind of like a nice mint or lemon or something, or lemon grass, like coming from the blade of grass in the bottle. It's got a nice nose.
Yeah,
I like that.
It tastes very different.
Wow, that's almost like slightly sweet.
Yeah.
Try that again. It's got a lot of flavor. It's got a lot, but it's like slightly sweet, kind of herbaceous. Like you almost get kind of like some herbs coming through, or like, I couldn't put my finger on the herbs, but almost slightly floral herbs. You almost want to venture to say like dandelion or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's tart, but grassy.
Nothing I've ever had before.
No. But it's got a lot of flavor to it. It's really pleasant actually. This, if you chilled nicely and put it with some ice, this would be really nice just to enjoy by
I
itself.
think so.
It's a drink alone. I mean, it could be a great mixer too. Anyway, Brandon's gonna make us some Caesars. What do you think? Which one do you like to do your Caesar with? Which one do you want to stick with?
Well, I like my classic one, but I think we should try the Finlandia.
Yeah, the Finlandia?
That one.
Okay. I think that's a good mixer. Yeah, this one's almost too nice.
A little bit of spice to it.
This one you almost want to drink alone.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that one.
The Finlandia one.
So Brendan's gonna make us some Caesars. I'm just gonna watch. I've always wanted to watch him make them because he makes them for me all the time. And I mean, Caesar, as far as a mixed drink goes, if I'm not having wine, if I'm not having a beer or whatever, I love a good Caesar. It's almost like a meal and a drink. Like I said, Brendan makes a wicked Caesar. Yeah. So tell us about making your Caesars. What's your trick to it?
Well, I think I'm not a big fan of the...
So we can see what you're doing here.
Sorry.
I don't mind being blunt.
I'm not a big fan of the spicy Caesar that really is hard to drink down, or some people that's their preference.
Yeah.
I just like a good tasting Caesar, and I've kind of tried around with different type of rimmers. I've gone from like a lemon pepper, which I started off, and now I've gone to the Clancy's seasoning.
Clancy's is a local meat shop around here. It's their meat seasoning.
So I find that one's quite nice because it's got the salty taste to it.
Okay.
And I like to throw in a pickle and a little bit of pickle juice.
Okay. I mean, that's not something you hear about a Caesar often. Usually it's a bean or some celery.
Yeah, it's a spicy bean or the celery or the pickled olive, but
yeah,
I like to stick with the pickle. It's kind of the classic. And
okay.
Something I want to have here with me is that I really enjoy it with a nice aged cheddar.
Oh.
But I forgot to bring it with me, so...
That sounds so good.
You have to try that at home.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's see you make a Caesar. Whip a couple up for us to enjoy this evening. So what's your first step there?
Well, I poured the another rimmer.
Yeah.
And then I actually use the pickle juice. I cut a little slice in the pickle, and I use that as the rimmer.
Oh, awesome. So we're getting some nice.
So some people use the lemon or the lime juice. I don't really, I'm not a super big fan of that.
Yeah. So you just spin the glass in there.
Yeah. So just kind of spin it, and you get a little bit of the rim. I don't know if you can see that.
There you go. Some extra flavor to it. While you're at it, I'm just gonna
keep going on
this
that.
This is really nice.
That was that's a really good. You know, if it was chilled and really good sipping,
just to enjoy it. So yeah, if you're at a liquor store, and this was only $25. I mean, a bottle this size of vodka, you're usually looking at $50-$60. So if you can pronounce this, if you want to try with me, I may even have pop on the screen the Zubrówka. Just feel Polish saying that. Look this one up. It's really cool. They've got the piece of lemongrass in there. Lemongrass, the bison grass sitting in the bottle as well. I think it's pretty neat. So I might just sip on this a little while he's whipping up a Caesar.
So I don't go with too much ice. I hate how you go to a restaurant and all you get in the Caesar is ice. And you're like 4 sips into it and you're done.
Yeah, you're not getting any flavor anymore.
No,
just dilutes it.
So I like to go with more of the Clamato juice and not too much on the icy side. So first I always add a little bit more of the seasoning into it. Just a couple shakes.
Now, what other seasonings if people can't find, like Clancy's seasoning, which is a local meat shop? What works well?
I would think like a seasoning salt, or I also use a lemon pepper from time to time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
You kind of get the peppery taste, but also kind of, I don't know, like the lemon, whatever.
Some nice spice.
Yeah,
nice,
like
yeah,
nice
a little
spiciness.
bit, some tartness, a little bit of that, for sure, the citric aspect.
So,
keeps it clean.
And I use the Frank's Red Hot Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's different about it than the regular Red Hot, but
it says Caesar on the bottle. It must be the right one. So how much of that do you put in?
Oh, just a couple dashes, like, I guess about 3 or 4 probably.
Awesome.
And then the same with the Worcestershire sauce. Oh,
awesome.
Making a mess.
Hey, make a mess.
Making a mess in the garage.
We're in the garage. All right.
So, and then I like to take a little bit of a dill pickle. I'm in the garage, so I have to use the hatchet to cut it.
Yeah!
So I just throw that in there.
I mean, that's I think what stood out with Brandon Caesar to me. I'm a huge pickle fan, and I mean I love a Caesar with a bean or just anything, but it gives us this really neat flavor.
So I guess we chose the Finlandia, so I don't really measure it out.
Probably like an ounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a normal shot. It's about right.
And then obviously you gotta go with the Clamato juice.
And classic Clamato juice. You can make Caesars with just like tomato juice
as
well, but classically you want to use a Clamato juice. Awesome. Is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it, and give it a little stir.
Yeah.
And the pickle seems to always sink to the bottom, so you kind of get that little treat at the end.
Okay. Bit of a snack at the end of your Caesar.
Yeah.
Buried underneath all the ice if you're at a restaurant.
Yeah. So
awesome. That's a Caesar?
That's pretty much my Caesar recipe.
So if you've never had a Caesar and you're a tomato juice fan or something like that, or if you want to learn how to make a Caesar, now you know how to make a Caesar. So thanks for making us Caesars.
No problem.
Here's to the rest of a good evening.
Yeah.
So we've tried some vodkas. Had a few decent ones. Again, see if you can find that one. Like I said, I love a Caesar. We gotta try these out. That's so good. It's so good. Like you said earlier, it's not overly spicy. It's got a nice spice, just to give it some flavor.
Yeah.
But you're tasting everything, not just like burning your mouth. And
yeah, you're not trying to, you know, like suck it back.
what do you think is of the Finlandia in it compared to the other one you're used to?
I think it's got a little bit of a peppery.
Yeah, it does.
Like a hot pepper taste to it. It's quite nice, actually.
Totally gives it a little bit extra.
Yeah.
Awesome. So there you have it. You know how to make Caesars. We tasted some vodka. Thanks for watching today. Leave your comments below if you have any variations to making a Caesar. And yeah, the recipe for Brennan's Caesar will be below. We'll try to figure out his portions and leave you a little bit of a snippet below. Maybe we'll just say some dashes of this, some shakes of this. But yeah, thanks so much for coming out, and we'll see you on the next episode.